Hey y'all. Hey Amelia. Hey Beloved. Robin, what's up? I hope everybody is having a good evening. Y'all tell me if I'm breathing hard. Y'all always say I'm breathing hard. I didn't turn this thing away from my face. So hey Sabby. Hello everyone. Welcome to my live stream. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. I knew what you meant, Sabby. So I'm just gonna start. So I wanted to talk about this story that happened last month, where um, a woman and her son was unalived by her son. He had just recently, hey, Special K, what's up with y'all today? Why y'all making all these typos? I know it's 5 o'clock somewhere, but um, so anyhow, he was the son that did it. He was recently released from prison on parole. Okay. So I was just like, I want to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't understand how, personally, I don't understand how people could just get out of prison and go back to prison. I just don't understand how that's a place that anybody would want to return to. Um, so I'm going to discuss some of those things, and then I'm going to play some things for you so we could watch what happened, or, what they say it happened, because it's not a lot coming out of why. And then I'll talk about one of the reasons that I do that has been rumored on why he did it. But the mom name is Dana Jenkins, and the son name is Darren. The son that unalived them, his name is Darren, and the 15-year-old, his name is, it's kind of similar. So you have the 25-year-old, his name is Daron, and then the 15 is Darren. Um, yeah, and mom was so happy to like for him to be coming home. Let me just show y'all. Okay. So, okay, Special K. So this is Dana's Facebook page, and her son was actually released on the 25th of March. As you can see, this is the 22nd of March. And I was just scrolling, I was like, wow, because she said, hey, Brett. She said, don't forget how blessed you are to be alive, breathing, laughing, walking, having clear eyes, clean water, food to eat, and a place to sleep and wake up. You are blessed. And 3 days later, three, 3 days later, her son was released. A week later, she was gone. I just think this is crazy. Wow. And so, um, on the 25th, yes, Robin. On the 25th, she was so happy. She said, my baby is home. My MF baby, my baby is home. Lord, I thank you. Okay, Brittany, that's okay. She said, Lord, I thank you. She was so excited for him to be coming home now mind you, they said the reason that one of the reasons, because I looked it up too. I looked him up online. Hey Terry. And one of the reasons that he was incarcerated in the first place because he had already committed aggravated assault and jumped on her and beat her. And so, yeah. So, still in all, you know how parents are. I'm not a parent, but I do know, no matter what, they love their kids. You know what I'm saying? They still want the best for their children. And obviously, it seems like that he was holding on to resentment. He was holding on to some hate in his heart. And for him to come right home and do this. To me, it just seems like he was thinking about it while he was there. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, wow. Yes, he was. He was holding on to get back, like, right. And I'm almost like, man, you know, I don't think it's hard to say. He had it on his mind what he was gonna do. He did. Like I think he already had his mind made up. And I'm gonna play something else, which you will see what the cousin had to say. So, but I'm thinking to myself, like, almost, I probably wouldn't have. He probably, if he had committed aggravated assault on me, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how willing I would have been to let him come back into my home. I probably would have put him. I probably would have helped put him up somewhere, but not in my home. Yes, Brittany, it is. Yes, Robin. Robin. He literally just came home on the 25th of March last month. He did this on like the 30th of March. Let me stop sharing this. I'm gonna show you. Yeah, y'all. It's I don't know. So and I was just actually I looked a little deeper into it. Because I just want to know, like, what I think sometimes it's the system, being in the system, and I'll get there, but I do think it has a lot to do with that. What Robin say? Yeah, Robin, he had just got out 5 days before. So no, he did his brother though, his 15-year-old brother, Brittany, but he do have a sister. And that's also just sad to know that pretty much your whole immediate family is gone. You know what I'm saying? It's a lose-lose situation. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully she has her father, but other than that, like, her immediate family is gone. Exactly. Absolutely. And then I was wondering too, Boo Love, like, um did he feel like mom showed favoritism to the younger son? Like, what made you, if you was mad at your mother, what made you do that to your little brother? Like, and the way that he took him out was, I don't even know how I'm supposed to say this, but he used "Hey Chosen," but he one of the worst ways actually, because you gotta sit there and you gotta, you know, but he used a knife. Yes, the sister she's still here with us, thank God. You know. Let me know if y'all can hear this. I'm gonna play this one. I think this was a good one.
Deep in the oldest part of Cairo, there's a mysterious salon known as the Crown Temple, run by a group of Black women in their 70s.
Now to the double murder in Wilson County. We're learning the suspect is charged with killing his own brother and his mother. Police identifying the victims as 50-year-old Dana Jenkins and her
Okay,
15-year-old
cool.
son, Darren Cox. Jenkins' 25-year-old son, Darion Jenkins, is now charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The victims were found inside a home yesterday evening on Snowden Drive. Cindy Bay has new reaction from the family.
Loved ones are reeling from the death of a mother and son who police
Beautiful.
say were found dead inside their Wilson home on Monday.
She was a very sweet person. Always smiled. I can see her smile right now. She
She was
always
so
smiled.
pretty.
Juanelia Carnegie lives next door to her cousin Dana Jenkins, who was allegedly killed by her older son, 25-year-old Darian Jenkins. Jenkins is also accused of killing his 15-year-old brother, a Wilson County school student who is being remembered by Bedingfield High School and Mount Moriah Community Church in Wilson.
They loved each other. They loved us. We loved them, especially Darren. He meant the world to all of us. Our teens here, they're grieving heavily.
According to court documents, Jenkins was released from prison on March 25th on separate charges, just 1 week before the incident. Jenkins is facing 2 counts of first-degree murder as Wilson police investigate the circumstances surrounding the victims' deaths.
This is a tragedy, and honestly, there is no winner in this. And I'll be praying for
Right.
everyone watching this, everyone affected by this and impacted by this.
Cindy Bay, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
So that's pretty much that. I actually saved let me see. I know I saved it. Okay, there we go. It should be under my watch later. Let me see this one.
Do you live in Georgia? If you have been in a car accident in Georgia within the last year, even as a passenger, you
just released from prison last week, is now
Hey,
charged with
Tabs.
killing his mother and younger brother after they were found dead in their Wilson County home on Monday.
I'm trying to
Today,
see
a
if the
family
cousin
member
gonna
who
talk
lives
on
right
this
next
one.
door is talking with WITN. Amarachi Uche is live in Wilson with more. And Amarachi, what did they tell you?
Yeah, Darian Jenkins is facing 2 counts of first-degree murder after police say he killed his mother and younger brother. They were found dead here in this home behind me. Now, the cousin of the mother is speaking to us, trying to figure out how this could have happened.
Always smile. I can see her smiling right now. She always smiles.
That's how Wanilia Cornigi describes her cousin, Dana Jenkins. Now she is left shocked and hurt after learning Jenkins was found dead in her Wilson home alongside her 15-year-old son.
It's
The
so sad,
suspect in
Brittany.
these horrific murders, Jenkins's older son.
I would have never thought that. I would have never thought he would do something like that. Not like this.
Police say on Monday they went to this home on Snowden Drive shortly before 5:30 p.m. and found 50-year-old Dana Jenkins and a 15-year-old boy dead. According to Cornigi, the 15-year-old's name is Darren. Tuesday, police say they have the son of Dana and the older brother to Darren, Darian Jenkins, in custody for these deaths. Cornigi says that in the days leading up to the murders, she felt something was off with Darian.
You could see it. The look. It
See?
told you everything. But I had no idea that you was getting ready to do what you did.
This church is where Dana and Darren found comfort. Bishop Sherman Blandon says he knew them well.
It has been very difficult, confusing, troubling.
Cornigi remembers speaking to her cousin Sunday night and seeing police around the building the next day, telling her that 2 of her family members were now gone. The 25-year-old now faces 2 counts of first-degree murder, leaving Cornigi wondering how this could have happened.
Couldn't figure out why he did it and what for.
Cornigi says they just had 5 deaths in the family, so these
Wow.
murders only add to that pain. She says she's not going to take it one day at a time and remember the good times she had with her cousin. Reporting live in Wilson, Amarachi Uche, WITN News.
All right, thank you, Amarachi. Now, records show the 25-year-old Jenkins was released from state prison 1 week ago after serving time for larceny of firearms and several breaking and enterings of vehicles convictions. Jenkins is now being held without bond.
Have you heard about the people who are investing in real estate that's backed by the government for just a few $100s?
Okay. So, yes, it is sad, right? And that's why I was saying like what it had to be like some revenge. I don't know if he was trying. It's like the devil, the demons was just playing on his mind or something because at the end of the day, that's still your mother, just like she felt like you was still her son, and she let you re-enter her home after, committing aggravated assault against her. She was still happy for him to come home. You know what I'm saying? Just like a mother would be. And Sabby says, and he looks like he has no regret. So sad. Sabby, I don't know. I don't know if, and so many times we be like, is it mental illness? But at this point, we can't even keep using that. So I feel like the reason he's looking like that is because he's out of his mind. You know what I'm saying? Like he jacked up. But I do think that the system does not, and this is from experience, right? If you're not strong enough, if you're not built for it, meant for it, now he's probably institutionalized, so he knows how to live in there. So I feel like that's probably why it's so easy for people to go back. But they don't have anything to rehabilitate these people. They don't. It sounds good on the outside where people be like, yeah, he need to go there so he can get himself together, but that really doesn't happen. Yes, like it really doesn't happen in there. Like they don't have enough mental mental health assistants in there. All they do is pass around meds, and they give you your medicine at a certain time and they gone. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're meeting with a psychiatrist or you're meeting with a counselor. It's none of that. You know, they don't prepare them how to go back into the real world at all. But you just know you're going home when that date come, okay? But and I feel like that's the system is failing. The system is failing a lot of people, a lot of families, because if they did have that help, I don't know if y'all watch it, but I watch a lot of those. Some of them be funny as heck too. I watch a lot of those parole hearings. And if you notice, I mean, I don't even know what you got to do um to pass in the parole hearing, because a lot of them been like walking a straight line. You know, I mean, had obviously he made it because he was out on parole, but I don't even know how some of them passed the parole hearings to even get out. Um, and I don't know how the parole board can ask the questions that they ask, because it's no help in there for these people. You're asking them, did they take this class? Did you do this to rehabilitate yourself? Did you do this? That's impossible in there for real. Or let me just say, that is definitely impossible in Georgia prisons. And that's me speaking from experience. There was nothing to do but go to church, get some medication, um, and sleep. You know, it was it's nothing there for you. Um, so yeah, that's what I think. I'm gonna read Special K. This is happening all too often in African Americans. We didn't see this much towards parents growing up. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I promise, um, you know, Special K, you know what we used to say, like clear folks, that's who unalive their families. That's something that we have never been known for, but it is getting so much more. It's happening so much more. It's happening so much more. Um, so I did, you know, look it up a little bit because I wanted to know. Um, I do feel like if they had that help, um, that real help in the prisons, you know what I'm saying? Like instead of just being there tossing the basketball when you go out on a when you go outside, you know what I'm saying? Um, and all of that. If they really had real help, it would be a little easier for them to re-enter society. But just going in and coming out with nothing, you know what I'm saying? You went in with nothing, you coming out with nothing. So you don't even know how to act out here. You know, like my uncle, he didn't even know how to use a phone. You so they are like teaching them nothing. Um so some of the reasons, it says here's a more detailed explanation of why people are so much more likely to commit a crime after coming out of prison or from being incarcerated. Lack of employment and housing is one. And in this case, it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Because his mom opened her doors. She welcomed him with open arms and opened her doors. So in this case, he was able to find stable housing. Employment, okay, another thing. But if you have some stable housing, finding employment, sorry, should be a little more easier. Let me see what this say. They don't educate families either. They don't. Mm-mm. Yes, it is. I'm chosen. So they are doing programs, but the programs that they're telling the inmate that they should be able to use when they come home, those programs are not being cooperative with the information given. You know what? Here's the thing with that. Who's doing programs though, Latte? Because it's not a lot of programs to do. Now, I think that before they even allow them to come out, there needs to be a solid plan. And I feel like that plan should have to be carried out when you're on before they even let you off parole. I don't even think it should be a parole tentative date. That should be to be determined when you have done the work. You know what I'm saying? When you have went to this class, when you have did this, it needs to be a plan for these people coming out, especially people that's in there for physical crimes. They need to have some kind of plan because, as we can see, they're gonna come out and hurt somebody else. These programs are not being cooperative with the information given. I don't think it's been happening, but Black people always hide family trauma when I was growing up. Plus, oh, I think it's always been happening, but Black people always had family trauma when I was growing up. Plus, social media wasn't relevant. Yeah, true, true, right? Um, you know, we're known for hiding family trauma or uh being made to not talk about family trauma or just not talking about it at all altogether. But at the same time, me and you grew up in different times. I'm chosen, but I don't feel like I heard it a lot either because social media wasn't relevant back then, but the news was very, very much so. Um, my grandmother she was nosy. So she watched the news all day long. Um, but I feel like yeah, social media does play a part. But the news is there. So the news is gonna spread regardless with something like this, whether it's social media or the news station. Stop. Let me see. So in Texas, they give them a list of programs and services that they qualify for. Okay. All right. I'm gonna tell you what I left. I left Georgia prison with my belongings that I came in with, and not all of them, and a receipt showing how much money I still had that I had to go cash in this thing, and some release papers. That's it. That's all. No programs. I didn't have to do any like drug classes. I didn't have to do any like none of that. I didn't have to do nothing. So that's good. That's good for Texas. But when you say that they qualify for, what are some of the qualifications? What qualifications do they need to have coming out of prison, or um do you mean services that is resonates with what their crime was, whether it be like anger management or something like that? All right, Brittany, do y'all think that the mother was too? I was gonna talk about this. Do y'all think that the mother was too caring to where if the son assaulted her, I would be caring if he assaulted her. I would say if he did, what else is he going to do? And I promise that's why I said that in the beginning. I was like, I'm just gonna be real. I wouldn't have did it. I would have found somewhere for him to be. I would have did my motherly duties a little different. You would not have came back into my home because I don't trust you. I don't want to go to sleep around you. Because you already attacked me. Right. So I probably would have found him somewhere to stay, whether it been a shelter, and I would have helped him. I would have had to feed him with a long handle spoon. I wouldn't have allowed him straight back into my house. All right. Special K says she's just experienced this firsthand last month with one of her mom's besties. March 5th, her son did the same thing to both parents at the same time. So your mom's friend was unalived? Wow, I'm sorry. So, and I kind of feel like, how they always say like there's the black sheep, but sometimes you can make yourself the black sheep. You know what I'm saying? Or you could put it in your head that you are the black sheep, but in all in all, it's because you can't get right. You know what I'm saying? You can't get right. So, of course, you're going to feel like that way, but you're creating the problem for yourself. And I feel like in this case, he did feel like he was a black sheep. And I feel like that's why he kind of took his brother out too. Because at the end of the day, um, be mad at your mom, but why you got to do the brother? In Texas, they now come home with a birth certificate, social security cards, and ID. That is amazing. That is good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't telling nobody to go, but that is good. And Robin, I believe this as well. Um, and that's why I say, when when they when it was said that he looked like he has no remorse, no, he's really mentally not sane. You know what I'm saying? He's really not here. And the cousin said it. She said, like, the way he was moving, the way he was looking, she said that she feels like he was gonna do something, or that something was off. And I would have had to speak on it. I wouldn't have sat there. You know, and I was watching this true crime the other day, and this young boy, he had a party at graduation. His mom threw him a party. Some of y'all may have seen it, but and his grandparents live next door, so the cousin is actually lucky too, because the grandparents lives next door, from this guy, and he did his mom and all the friends that she invited over, that he did them all. He did his girlfriend, and then went next door and did the grandfather and the grandmother, and came back and did himself. And I was like, wow, you know, that is insane. That was insane to me. um so I do sometimes believe what's in you is just in you. um he was fighting some demons. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Special K. That's crazy. Did they say why, Special K? So they have services to get them the in their in their institutionalized. They've been there multiple times to what to say and how to say to get benefits. Gotcha. Gotcha. I could see that. Yeah, me too. Me too, Tabby. I would have been scared. Like, I legit got family members right now that they can't come live with me. For real. Um, yeah, Krisha, even though I'm not a mother, I'm not either, but I wouldn't have let them come. I know me. I'm so far down. Let me get down. Hey, dreamy girl. Um, oh. Hey, Troy. She fought hard for him not to go to a mental institution. Last year, he was released. He beat them in the front yard with a center block in front the neighbors in the middle of the day. I know you telling a story, but see, this is the thing. You know what I'm saying? My condolences. Like, and let's say that's true, but I don't want to skip over this. Like, why? If you know and they know that they need that mental help, send them. Send them, because this is, unfortunately, this is the outcome right here, Special K. This is the outcome. Um okay. So it says, I said lack of employment. It says social support system is another reason many released individuals lack a strong support system of family and friends, further isolating them and making it harder to stay on the right path. Again, that was not him. Clearly, they welcomed him. I'm sorry, Lute. I wanted to go back to this one. Maybe he was medicated in there and he came home to not receiving the same services. And that could be true. Do you think he was afraid to, or embarrassed to, maybe say that he needed to have his medication? Because I personally, I feel like before I went, um I do feel like I was more of a bubbly, outgoing person. But after I went, I felt the struggle of being there. I didn't feel like I've ever had depression symptoms or any of that until that time in my life. And then, um, of course, I still have it. I still have anxiety and I still have depression. But, I feel like that is what caused it. Do you think he was afraid, let's say, to say, I need to go to the doctor, I need to be on my medication? And that's another thing. They should send them home with the medication. Like they should send you home with at least a 30-day supply of your medication until you are able to get to see a doctor. I begged her not to fight for him to come home, but she kept saying she could handle him. His dad didn't want him home, but she fought. To they couldn't handle him. I'm sending you a video. Yes, this is so crazy. Oh man, you sending it to my Facebook. I probably could airdrop it. Um so yeah, that's crazy. Like and parents, I promise y'all, we know y'all love y'all kids. We know parents love their kids, but sometimes loving them is sending them off is helping them. You know what I'm saying? Not just constantly allowing them to do things and knowing mommy and daddy is gonna be there. We have to sometimes helping them is gonna be the hardest choice. You got to make a hard choice. Um, so it did say mental health issues. Many incarcerated individuals have pre-existing mental health issues, and the experience of incarceration can cause these problems, making it harder to reintegrate successfully. I believe that. Yes, a lot of them gets mad and come home and crashes out. Yeah, so like, and that's another thing. I think that the system, they really should send you home with a 30-day supply and then let you know this is what we're going to give you. You need to make an appointment to see a doctor because sometimes we don't know how long it is going to be for us to go actually see a doctor. So we definitely they need to be sending them home with that medication because without it, I've been without mine and you don't feel good. Um, so it says cognitive factors, thinking patterns. Some individuals may continue to engage in criminal behavior because they haven't developed the skills or mindset to make different choices. And that is where the skills they should be learned. Y'all, let's not pretend. You know, these people get on here. Watch some of those parole board hearings. You would think they just have all these classes, all this stuff set out for these people to do, and they don't. And that is why, you know what I'm saying? It They can't change the mindset. You know what I'm saying? They're already behind closed doors. They stuck. They surrounded by concrete. You know what I'm saying? So like, there should be something to help them. I don't. I don't know. So it says incarceration itself, pretty much what I was just saying. It creates a negative impact. The experience of incarceration, including poor living conditions and lack of access to health care, can be the lasting negative impact on the individual's health and well being, making it harder to reintegrate successfully. And that's a fact. And I really wholeheartedly believe that one. That's the one I stand on. It's not enough health care in there. Like I said, they just do a med call and they leave you. There's no psychiatrist, there's no counselors. Um, you have like stop. I'm sorry, y'all. Watch out. You have nothing in there to help you. And I'm listening now to Latay, and I'm like, oh wow, Texas has a lot. You know what I'm saying? Without my meds, I shut the world out. Man, chosen, listen. I definitely shut the world out last week. I definitely did. And It's not because I didn't have them. I'm having to switch over to another one. So you have to wean yourself off of one to go to the next one. And whew, it was best for me to just be let alone. After missing a few days, it's a lot easier for me to call you out on board. Yes. With my meds, I don't be giving up. For me either. Me either. It's like I done smoked, okay? And I don't even smoke. But I don't be caring about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Just do you. But couple of days, because sometimes I do go a couple of days knowing I shouldn't, but I do. And sometimes not because I'm doing it on purpose. I just be forgetting. So, let me see. I have no insurance and too many prescriptions and out of pocket doctor visits. But so are your anxiety meds, or I don't know what kind of meds? I'm finna go see it right now, Special K. I just got it. I didn't even see you send me this. Where you sending it to me at? I'm in our messenger. So what do y'all think? What do they need coming out of prison to rehabilitate? Would y'all have let y'all child stay with y'all, knowing that he has already committed, aggravated assault against you? I mean, what y'all think? What y'all thinking? Thank you, Tabs. I did. I cooked, and now I'm ready to, lay it down. Do y'all think it's like yes, Tabby? So they need realistic programs. They need realistic programs. They do. Um, Longer programs. You know what I'm saying? Not just I don't know about y'all, but like like let's just use an addict. For addicts, for instance, some of them go to 30-day programs, but they relapse real fast because that's not enough. They need longer programs. They need programs where these people can actually interact with them, and not just sit there and listen to them talk, like because a lot of people just not gonna sit there and listen to you talk. Therapy. They do need. They definitely need therapy. Um, in the prison system. They need therapy. They need somebody for them to go talk to. Because just think if he would have had an actual counselor in there to speak to and get it off his chest. Because that helps a lot. You know what I'm saying? And explain what's hurting you, and for them to give you the tools to use to get around it. You know what I'm saying? That they need that. My child will have to go somewhere else. I think I'm with you. Now I would have helped. I would have helped. I would have showed him that I still care. But I would have definitely helped him. But he would have had to reside with somewhere else. Um, Definitely let him stay where he's safe and you're safe. Yes. Um, and it's sad because she really thought she was safe. You know, um, it's just messed up. And she was beautiful. It's the way the pastor talked about them, the way they had a whole service for her and him, not the actual funeral service, but just like a service for the church. It was real nice. I wonder if I could find it, but um Let me see if I got a special K. Okay. What's his name? Daryl Sampain. Let me see if I can find him on here. Child, he got my last name. Hold up. He not even on there. On here. I'm finna find him on here. And I did find this woman's son, Dana Jenkins. I found her son on North Carolina's, and he has a little healthy criminal history. Um and this is the one Special K was just telling us about, y'all.
The Friends and Family event is back at J. Allen Toyota, and so is our popular tire deal. Buy 3 tires, get the 4th for just $1. Keep your car safe, smooth, and on the road while keeping your wallet happy. When you think tires, think J. Allen Toyota, where safety, quality, and savings roll together.
Thanks for joining us on
Dang, what I did? Okay.
WLOX News now at 10. I'm Aaron S. Lee. New details tonight in the
That's
trial
him.
against a
Wow,
man
39.
accused of killing his parents with a cinder block. Daryl Payne made an appearance in municipal court this afternoon, and our Will Polston was in the courtroom and joins us now with the latest on the case. Will?
Yeah, Aaron, when Daryl Payne was arrested last week, he was charged with 2 counts of murder. Now those charges have been upgraded. In the courtroom this afternoon, Payne was told that his murder charges would be changing to capital murder. I asked Pascagoula
You know
Police
what they
Chief
gonna try to
Harry
do to
Scott
him?
what causes the change in the charges. And he said that Payne attempted to steal his mother's purse. That additional act, on top of what we already know, was enough to upgrade these charges. Now, Payne could receive the death penalty by being charged with capital murder. Now, for now, he's being held without bond and is waiting a preliminary hearing on those new charges. Aaron?
The Friends and Family event is
So Special K. Oh Lord. So Special K, was he on drugs? Cause what you trying to steal your mama purse for? Yeah, he was 39. Amber, hey Amber, I gotta go back up. Special K, what was he doing? They need counsel individually and group settings, lab work, free healthcare, psych evals, at least at a minimum. They do. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like, and I also feel like whoever, because you know how like whoever you're gonna parole out to, they have to sign some papers. But I feel like, um, after all of what you just said, chosen, if it don't come out how it should, the people that he is, supposed, either you don't make the parole or the people that he is paroling to, they need to know this is what he needs to do. Other than that, your family member is not going to be right, and anything could happen. A lot of the time, the programs does not really consist of them coming home and sustaining a job. Maybe a work release program where they can come work while they're in prison and continue once released. Now, I do know here they do have some work release programs. Now, I do know that. Which I do think that's good because that gives them like, and then they have to report back to where they're actually staying when they're on work release as well. And I feel like that would actually give them the chance to see how they're going to act in society. That kind of program. That's a good one. The guy I spoke on, his wife, and his roommate in college, so they knew his mental status. This one I just showed. A mixture of drugs and mental. So the one I just showed, he did that to. See you later, Brittany. Thank you for staying as long as you did. I think you said you was working. Um. So Special K, I'm sorry. The Daryl guy that I just showed, he did that to his roommate in college. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm waiting on the answer. Mm. His work release was with the high school football team working out, and yes, his roommate and wife. So I need to get this together, ma'am. His roommate and his roommate's wife. And was they unalived? Or did they just like have injuries? And when did this happen? And why is he out? And he's so young. He's only 39. He did all of that in 39 and he's already out of jail. Hey, Matu. Robin, you must have went and looked it up because I'm finna search a little deeper. Let me go look for this. The wife lost her arm and the roommate can't walk. Girl, I know you lying. Okay, so how he get out of jail on that? And then a center block. Wow. In the middle of the day. And you said in front of the neighbor, so nobody stopped it? Well, the one I'm talking about, so basically, oh, that was a question. So basically, the cousin said she saw him standing outside after. And then it say he barricaded himself in the home. I gotta look at this one right here. So he had a brother. Did she had him and another child or more? Okay, so Special K, Robin asked you, um, was he on work release? His work release was okay, there you go. With the high school football team working out, and yes, his roommate and wife. Oh wow. I don't even think he should have been around nobody's kids at all. But those were some good answers. Most of the answers we came up with is more, pretty much more mental health. mental health, psychiatrists, therapy, counseling. Um, yeah, they should be because there's nurses. My aunt works in the jail, and she's an RN, and they should have blood work to see what's going on. And things that they should just have a little more access to healthcare in there, and they don't. Um, and I feel like that's what. I don't see you. It don't show you up here. There you go. What's up?
Hey, hello
How
everybody. How
you
are you
doing?
doing? I'm doing good. Um, it was too much to type, so I said leave it
That's
for
why I
you.
dropped it because we all want to know.
Um, everybody, I thought everybody knew, but because Amber knew all about it, and I thought one day she was going to touch on it. But I think it was kind of fresh at the time when it happened, so she
Hmm.
didn't do it because it had just happened. Like I said, it was last month on the 5th
Hey, Penny.
of on a Monday, actually, just like today, and he just, I mean, they ran out the house. They was sitting on the porch,
Uh-huh.
and they always sit on their porch and drink coffee in the mornings and stuff because it was like 11 something in the morning or whatever. So they usually sit out there, his parents, and they drink their
Right.
coffee. And he come outside and he had been on Facebook Live earlier that morning. He didn't go down to the school because he would work out with the football team. And that's what his little work release was, working out, supposed to be like a personal trainer. So and he kept saying on his Facebook Lives, he was telling everyone that, he got two more things to take care of and then he gonna be
Oh,
out of here. Hmm. And so everybody was like, um, not me, because I didn't even know about it. And I didn't even know him. I knew him, but not know him because he's younger than me. And I knew his brothers, his older brother who's deceased, he lived in Texas. He was my classmate. And his other three brothers were I grew up with them also. But he came along a little later in years when we wasn't, really around to know
hmm.
his personality. Um, he he suffered, they said, with schizophrenic,
Okay.
and
See.
yeah, so then to add insult to injury, he did drugs. So
Hmm.
um, they said he did all kind of workout type of enhancements and stuff too as well. So he had too much going on to be doing that anyway.
And I figured that when it said that she tried to steal the mom's purse, I
Hmm.
figured drugs was somewhere in there. Okay, I'm listening.
Well, the reason why he was out because we call her name is Jatan, his mom, but we called her Tony. Um, and Tony used to, fight hard for them boys. I don't care if they was wrong as two left shoes. She'd fight the devil for 'em.
Hmm.
She would, it was those are my boys. Those are my boys because she had five boys, and she just they were very smart, and that's the sad part about it. They were very smart, but he the only one I know that really suffered from mental illness. But she fought. She one day she seen my mom and I, uh, her and Harold, and she told my mom, she said, I want Kim, that's me, to help me get, you know, Daryl out, help me find what courts I need to go through to help get Daryl out. And I said, as far as from a medical standpoint, Tony, I don't think you should do that. I said, because you can't handle Daryl. I said, when Daryl gets enraged, or he decide he don't want to take his medicine, ain't nothing you gonna be able to do with him. I said, he has strength out of nowhere. His mind is gonna tell him to do whatever to you. And
But
that was
she probably didn't think that he would
he would
do it
do
to
it.
her.
She said that. She said, that's my son. So his dad was standing behind her, looking at me saying, tell her, yeah, tell her, because he didn't want him home. And she was determined. and she was very known for as in the community,
Hmm.
and she I mean, she would put her life on the line, and those lawyers they respected her and they liked her a lot because, like I said, she was very smart, and she worked for a lot of lawyers, and they, helped her fight to get him home because she, kept telling them he's better. But I was going off his track record. He did this when he was young. He stabbed his roommate in his sleep. You
And that's
know,
what. So my thing is, how old was he then?
he was in
About.
college. He was in college, so he had to be maybe between 20 and 23, something like that. And then he got married when he graduated from college. You hear what I said? Now he graduated from college, got
Hmm.
married, and married a nice girl. She wasn't from, the coast. Um,
Hmm.
he married her, and they were married, and the only thing saved her is the neighbor heard him beating her in the apartment they were living in. And she got away and she ran out and he literally cut her arm off. And she like to bled out in the parking lot, but they got her, the ambulance and everything got there in time. Okay. He was already on paper for what he did to his roommate.
Right.
Slash, he did that. So he went to jail for that. Both those things combined, and they wanted to put him in an institution. They wanted to take him out of a regular prison and would put him in a mental institution where he could be. They said rehabilitated, but I don't think they could do it because he was so far in his own head. Um, she didn't want that. So when it come up for his parole, every time he come up for his parole, she would write them and go to his parole hearings, everything, and pretty much beg the judge to let him out. And that she could handle him. She did everything. She fought. And well, one judge said, well, we're gonna give it a chance and did. And he went home a year before he
So
did what he did.
how many years did he do?
Mm,
About, if you know.
I really don't know exactly how many because he was in and out, far as going to institutions and, seeing
Mhm.
if they
Yeah.
could rehabilitate him. So I lost track of count with how many times she went. She went to court. I know at least 5 times she went to court trying to get him, make sure. But I know in North Carolina they didn't want him out at all. They
Yeah,
they
he should have been in the mental institution. That's where he should have went, you know? And
She said he didn't need it.
well, he was diagnosed.
No, but she said it's not funny. But she didn't think he she didn't think he need to be there. And that's when Brittany said about a mother, and I was like, yeah, they can love them a little bit too much to the point where to their detriment. Okay, this is a case in point right here, fact. You love this child so much to your detriment.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's what happened with this lady.
Hmm.
That is what happened with this lady. I don't know.
I never knew this to what I was saying earlier in the chat. I never seen this as much in African American community. It was just a thing that you can kill everybody else, but you wasn't finna go against mom and daddy. So you read about the Menendez brothers, you seen it on the news and everything growing up, but you just didn't experience it this up close and personal.
And it's getting more and more to what it was just recently the little girls who the mama told them they couldn't go outside, the two little girls.
Yeah.
And that was crazy.
The twins.
No, but the twins, I remember them. That was like some years ago.
That was in Atlanta, yes.
Yeah, that was here. I remember
Hmm.
that, but no, just recently, let me see if I can find it. It's two girls. They did it to their mom because they moved. So what happened was, she didn't really like the neighborhood that they was in, and she moved them.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember now.
yeah, she moved them away,
Hmm.
and so they felt like she moved them away from, um, their friends and all of that, and then the friends would come and get them from there. But one day she told them they couldn't go, and that's what happened.
So I to answer another question that was asked, why didn't anybody help since it was outside? Well, at the time, it was in the middle of the day, so anybody that really had any strength was at work. They mostly elderly people lived on that street. So retired, and the cousin lived next door. So her 4 year old grandchild ran in the house. They was outside in the yard playing. So and they saw him,
Wow.
when he was chasing his mom down because his mom had injury. She had a leg injury somewhere, and she couldn't run really fast. And the daddy was crippled too. He had been retired, but Mr. Harrell was like trying to get between him and her because the mama fell. And when the mama fell, he straddled her with the center block, just kept dropping the center block down on her head, on her face and stuff. So the dad kind of crawled over trying to save her and laid on top of her to stop him. And he took a shovel and went to digging in his back, with the shovel, killing him.
I mean, gruesome.
Yeah. So when the kids ran in the house and got their grandmother, he was yelling, "Stop, stop," when she seen it. And she kept saying stop. And then she grabbed her cell phone because, you know, the kids said they was fighting. They didn't know that he was actually killing her because the baby was just 4. So killing them. And he came out and she grabbed her cell phone, called the police, and told him to hurry up and get here because he's killing them, and it
Yeah,
and
and
hmm?
I don't even know why I asked that question because in some cases you do gotta mind your business before you be the next victim, especially if it's
Yes,
more older people over there.
yes. And one guy now he stopped. He stopped, got out of his car. He shot up in the air several times. He kept shooting in the air, shooting in the air, trying to stop, and he wouldn't stop. I mean, he did this until he heard the sirens coming down the street. And then he ran in the house and barricaded himself in. But the guy kept shooting in the air, but he said he didn't want to shoot him because I hate to say this, but he was a felon. So he said he didn't want to go to jail. But I was like, I promise you, if you had a killed him or whatever, I don't think nobody would have
Mhm,
allowed you to go to jail. He was in the midst but he said he wasn't supposed to have a firearm. So
mhm.
he so
That's
he
sad.
yeah, so he was like upset, crying because he
I
was
would
like,
have popped his ass though.
I promise I would have, but
Yeah, I would have took him out. Nah,
yeah,
because that's
yeah,
just
that's what
too much.
everybody did. And when the police got there, he ran in, went live on Facebook, and told everybody what he did. So his cousin come on the live, on the phone, and he said, uh, "Do you have a knife?" And he told him, "Yeah." He said, "Would or he said, or do you have a gun?" And he said, "No, he said, I don't have a gun. I don't have no gun." He said, "But I got a knife." He said, "Well, do me a favor. Take the knife, go outside with the knife in your hand, pointed at them." He was trying to get him killed. He told him to go out there with the knife, and when I tell y'all the SWAT and everything was out there waiting on him, he wouldn't come
So,
out.
so how did they get him out?
They had to they started throwing tear gas. They threw tear gas in all the windows because he stayed in there till it was dark. He wouldn't come out.
This ninja got on Facebook and told them people what he had just did.
Hmm. and told him before. But everybody was like, "Oh, he just talking. He crazy anyway." We got a bad habit of saying that. When
Mhm,
Junebug
mhm.
was crazy in the neighborhood, everybody told, "Oh, that's just Junebug. He crazy anyway," and going about our business. No, you better start taking Junebug serious.
Yes, for real.
And
Because
that's
that cousin on the one I showed, she said she knew something was wrong.
hmm
She said he
yeah.
was looking crazy. I would
hmm
have told somebody.
Well, they all knew how Tony felt about him too. So it's like, who you gonna tell? Because she gonna fight tooth and nail not to let him go to jail.
Wow, that's so sad.
hmm So that's why I say you just can't take things, lightly when you have mental illness or anything. Anybody that said they're gonna do anything. That's why law enforcement are trained now to take every threat seriously.
Seriously, yeah. Um, that's crazy. This is crazy because I'm seeing like, uh, this one was said 2 weeks ago. Two teen sisters, oh three teen sisters have been arrested Monday after trying to unalive their mother for allegedly turning off the Wi-Fi. And they are color, so it's like it's getting so. So do
But
you
too
think?
often. Mhm.
Yeah. So do you think that the parents, um, the black parents, are being too much like friends or being too lenient?
I do. I do, and you know what? I don't have children, but like I said, I help raise my step boys, and I always, this is just my belief. I think your children should have a little fear in
Mhm.
them when it comes to you. I love my mama to death. I'd walk on water if I could for her. I'd do anything for her. But I had a little fear in my mom. Yeah, my mama said, "Don't do that." I knew she wasn't playing, so I didn't do it. But see, nowadays you find most parents want to be friends and bargain with them.
Yeah, too much bargaining, and I believe that. Like for me, I felt like I didn't I didn't play with my great grandmother at all. I just
Mm-mm.
didn't. You know what I'm saying? Until I got a little older, but
Yeah.
um, but not to this extent. You know what I'm saying? Like not at all. I knew better,
Mm.
and so it's
Yeah.
just like when I think it's a lot of wanting to be friends, a lot of giving them what they want, even when they're not doing what they want, and then when you're ready to take it, it's a problem.
hmm
Now they mad at you.
And
Um,
that's exactly how he was. He would. She didn't want him mad at her, and when she talked to him on the phone, Mr. Harris said he used to tell her mama, "Why you want to leave me in here like this?" He would mind games, play on the sympathy chain, for as his mom. And she, like I said, it's been that way since the beginning of time with all her boys. But
yeah, I see one of them said no comment um on there, but
mhm,
it didn't show his face. It just showed the back of him. But
he
I
lives in Atlanta.
the other son that was
hmm
yeah, it's crazy. So she had five boys, and this one was they all bad off?
The oldest one, actually, all of them were real smart. Um, the son that said no comment, as his wife is a news. She works for television station, and she's a newscaster in Atlanta, in the city of Atlanta. And his oldest brother, like I said, he was my classmate. He had he went to Tennessee State. He was very well rounded. He played football. I mean, he was a beast in football. Took us to two championships, state championships and stuff, and smart. Like I said, they all of them were very smart and talented too. Um, he got on drugs after college. I, I don't know how, because he went in the military too, and then he got on drugs after that. I guess he couldn't cope with, I don't know. I never knew. But when I last time I seen him, I told him, I said, his name was Danny. I said, Danny, I said, I asked him, he had asked me at the gas station, he was like, can I wash your windows and stuff? He said, your car already looked clean. He didn't know who I was. That hurt me to my heart because we grew up together. And I said, Danny, you don't know who I am? And he said, uh-uh. I said, Danny. I said, I called my nickname, you know what they call me. And he just looked and he said, I'm sorry, and he wanted to come and hug me, but I didn't know too much about should I hug him. And so my best friend and I was in the car together and she got out and she's his classmate as well. And I said, you don't know who that is either? And he said, no. And we were all like really tight. It wasn't the high school we went to, it wasn't that many African Americans. So it's like out of our class was almost 800 people. So it was just, we all knew each other. The African Americans knew each other because we was like a little dot in the class. But he he didn't, and he left. He left after that and said that he was going to get him some help. He moved to Texas and got help. He lived a year, about a year or 2 years. He got an apartment. He was doing good. He was drug free. He was working, doing everything, and his being that he was on drugs forever and a day since he was young, they had effect on his body, his heart after he got
Yeah.
clean. See, that's another thing that people don't realize. You do decide to go and get right, and then by that time, you done so much damage to your body. Your body ain't finna change. It's damaged.
Yeah.
So,
So you know what? That's very true because I have um I have my grandmother here. I moved her here 3 years ago from Chicago. Same thing. And my family was kind of so afraid that once I moved her that she would go downhill because she did that.
mhm,
I'm 40. She did it over 40 years. Um
mhm.
and I mean, I just by the grace of God, oof, girl, and a whole lot of doctors and a whole lot of work,
It's
she is
work.
still
It's
here.
definitely that.
hmm but it is. It's like when you stop them, that's when they will actually go downhill. So he passed.
He passed maybe a year. Um, but the ironic thing is he asked his mom not to let him come home either. And she said, I'll let you stay. So
So at 39, I just gotta ask. At 39, and this is for the people in the chat as well. How many chances do you give your child, especially a grown child, to
mm,
say, "Mama, you gonna leave me in here"? At this point, I would know that you playing on my top, right?
mhm.
Um, it's just some kind of way you gotta cut the string. Come on, parents, because we ain't parents.
I can't answer.
When do it stop? Like, you know, to me, I know I would be a harder parent, definitely than my husband. Um, he say that's not the truth, but I know it is because I don't get too many chances because I'm really a mother to a lot of my cousins, and I've had
Mhm,
to get them out of trouble. But I wouldn't go right
mhm,
in. You gonna sit there.
mhm, mhm. That's
You
what I feel.
you are gonna sit there. You gonna think about it. Um, and I will say that I get it from my aunt because she's real tough. Um, I don't play that. Like you gonna have to sit there for a minute. You gonna have to realize what you did before I go spend my coin and you do it again.
Mhm.
And that's just it, and that's just all. But as a parent, I know I will be tough. I will be probably too tough. Um, hey Angie,
But
Derek,
sometimes some
you are not
children require tough love. I mean, I think some kids, some children, and that's just from me being working in the field that I work in, and being seeing a lot of children brought in for behavior things, and then later on, they bringing them in again, but they shackle down. You know, so sometimes tough love, you just have to do it for the protection of them.
And I believe that. I do. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm finna read your comment, Ross, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. If I didn't get it, I would not be who I am. Y'all, I promise you. I would probably still be doing the same thing. But when you realize, like, dang, I done burnt all my bridges. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't nobody want to be there for me. Don't nobody want to help me. When you realize that, you will stop, and it doesn't feel good to the person that's going through it, and it doesn't feel good to the person that's actually making them go through it. It hurts
Mhm.
them too. It hurts the parent, but
Exactly.
it's hurting the child, but it's always for the better. Because I promise you, if I would have constantly, so the last time I went to jail is when I went to prison, and my family, they did help, but they didn't get me out, and I could have got out. They didn't get me out. You know what I'm saying? They helped me while I was there, but at the same time, like, no. And I don't blame them for not getting me out. I'm not mad. I don't feel no resentment. I don't need no revenge. You did the right thing, because I will probably still be doing the same thing. Um, Rod said she don't think she could leave her babies.
Even after he didn't did what he did it to two other people.
So, Roz, the lady that I was showing, her son actually assaulted her. He had aggravated assault on his mother before he even went to prison. And he just got out in March. She let him come home to her house. She was excited, all that. And he just unalived her and his little brother. Um,
He had some pent up resentment.
he did. He thought about
He
that for a
really
while.
did. Mm-hmm.
He thought about it for a while. I don't know if he felt like he was the left out child, or however he felt, but he had a criminal history. I looked them up. So all these things you were actually putting on yourself. Um, I don't know.
I
And
understand,
then,
love for your child, and I'm just saying this from my point of view, love for your child, but at the detriment of someone else, you
mm-mm.
know, when you gonna, say, what, I can't hold you because you wrong. And I think that's what's gone wrong with a lot of parents. They don't want to say you wrong. They think they less than a mother or
Well, look at it like this.
father.
You might not get a chance to say it.
There you go.
And we have to
You
just
may
think
not get a chance to correct it.
like it. Hmm. Latte says, I think it depends on the mental level of understanding.
I agree with that.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
if I feel like you at this point, I think you don't really have control of your thoughts because you've done this 3 times. Now
Yeah.
your father and I are your fourth victims.
And they learn how to manipulate that level of
Hmm.
understanding too, though, Latte. They learn how to manipulate it. They make you feel like that third time is gonna be the best time. I ain't gonna do it no more. I know I done done it this many times, and I ain't gonna do it no more. And I don't know. Rod said, my babies know that saying, I brung you in this world and I take you out. I take you out. I know that's right.
Well, you have to have some type of fear, and I think a lot of people look at it too. They doing it to other people. They're not doing it to me, and they give their children a pass. I'm gonna take up for me. I'm gonna stand 10 toes down for my. But if your child is out there wrong and taking someone's life, how would you feel if somebody else felt the same way you felt about their child?
Yep. I absolutely agree. I agree. And that's how a lot of people think. Hell, he ain't do it to me. That's my baby. Get my baby out of there.
Mm-hmm.
No. Mm-mm. He's doing it to other people. it's just like if somebody else's child was doing it to you or your people. You would want something to happen. I'm sorry. We got to do better, y'all, because like pay attention. These kids, they so caught up in wearing $1,000 jeans and
Mhm.
um parents buying $2,000 Balenciaga shoes and things of that. Like once you start taking that, and I told my friend this recently, um, because I sell stuff. So she was coming to get these shoes for her son. I said, now you're gonna have to keep this up, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, because once you
Mhm.
start taking it away, that's when the rage and they get mad with you, and then they do go out and do worldly things.
They do. They really do. I mean, because you ever really just sit down and watch someone take their child's phone?
Yeah.
I mean, they will spaz out.
Mhm.
And they be little kids, little bitty kids. I mean, they will cut a fool about their phone.
Mhm. I know little bitty kids just like that. Very well. Tablets, phones, everything. Not perfect, but
And I'm a very compassionate person, G Mama, but I just feel like with this happening so often these days, you can't be too careful either. You can't just say, without all the facts and whatever. If I have a doctor that's sitting, I mean, medically trained people, and I had opinions after opinions from different doctors telling me this, he's everybody's saying the same thing.
Mhm.
Every doctor is saying the same thing, that he's mental. This is gonna keep happening, and I can't. I mean, that's the most compassion I can give you, is get you help.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree. And then Ross said, how do you get I'm gonna answer this, Ross, but how do you get out on a charge of unaliving? You don't, right?
You
I mean,
don't.
some do, but what I'm saying is we want to be able to stop them before they even get there. You know what I'm saying? And that is what is going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes we can't stop it, right? But that is going to take a whole lot of tough love because things happen. Well, not all the time, but a lot of things happen before that initially happens.
Leading up to that.
Yes. So we want to prevent, do what we can to try to prevent.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I'm not judging, but you said I don't think I could leave my babies. I will leave they at mm,
I know. Because
mm,
these were my last words to her. I told her, I said, do you have an A1, AR-15? I said, because you're going to need that to sleep with that on top of your chest, finger on the trigger. And you have a knife. I said, a small 9, anything. You got to have all these weapons cocked and loaded before you go to sleep. I said, put the dresser up. And I wasn't being funny. I said, put that dresser. You and her going to put that dresser up and another dresser on top of that, some real good heavy furniture in front of that door, the window, everything. I said, because, baby, I worked in a mental hospital before, and I know how much strength they have. You're not trained, you're not able physically to handle him. You're not going to be able to handle him. We have to go
girl,
through
I
all
don't
kind
see
of
it.
phases.
This one right here, chosen. Type yes or no. Is it up? It's above that one.
She said people who violate souls are the
Mhm.
worst.
Up. Okay.
He attempted 2 people, Ross. His his wife has a prosthetic arm now,
Chosen.
and his roommate in college cannot walk, is
I
what I
don't
was
see no
told.
comment. This one, the not perfect but compassionate.
She said, up, up, up.
Up, up, up. Okay.
Hey, Angie.
Up and away. Where we going? Cause you got me all the way at the top.
She said, horrific. Hey, Miss Lasanda. Hey, Miss Lasanda. Blessed beyond measure. Said mental illness. Hey, bless. Um,
I don't chosen.
I didn't know. Oh, I didn't tell you, G Mama. I'm sorry. Um,
Retype it, chosen. I don't see it. See it. I see horrific.
hey, my 2 cent.
Not mm-mm. Just tell. Oh, maybe YouTube deleted it. What you said? Just tell us. But yeah, I don't know, but I did. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Like we getting just as bad as.
Hmm. I mean, you could count when we were growing up how many people probably it was an all out big deal if someone unalived their parents in our community or something. That was just something that you talked about to the end of time. But
Mm-hmm.
now it's becoming so. And my grandmother was just like you. Your grandmother, she was nosy, so she looked at the news all the time. So we knew about every death. We knew about all the obituaries, all that kind of stuff,
Exactly.
because they kept up with that kind of stuff. And they kept Ephesians 6 in your face. Children, be obedient to your parents. you
Mm-hmm.
know you knew that by heart, because they instilled that in you. And like I said, it's not saying put some fear in your child by pulling weapons on them or anything, or cuffing them up in their collar and then choking them or something. No, you need to just have more, hey, I'm not playing conversations.
Yeah, my aunt, she my dad's sister, she had me a lot until she had a baby. I think she was actually 40 when she had Alex, and she was like I rough him up. I let him know don't play with me right now. She was like he ain't finna get older and think he can whoop me, and his dad wasn't
Hmm.
around, so she had to make sure he understood that, and I get it.
Hmm.
Hey there.
Hey, my baby.
Hey.
Hey, granddaughter. Hey, chat. Yeah, I went at the
Hey,
chat,
mama.
came back in, and it's gone. So I don't. Okay, so what I said was, I said I don't know what I would do as a parent had I gave birth to PEDOs, people who violate
Mhm.
souls, RAPPIS,
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
because if they would have had one time. That is like the ultimate for me, is a person
Hmm.
that hurts a child that way. Like, I have no compassion, zero tolerance for that. And had I birthed a child that was sick mentally like that, and I found out about it, I would have to either turn my back totally and completely, because I wouldn't be able to bear the sight of them, or I would make sure that no one else could bear the sight of them either. You know what I mean? Like,
I
that's how
agree.
much I hate that group of people, you know?
Let me tell you. So I don't have any, right? But I one of the reasons, so I have a lot of reasons why I haven't done it. And so, but one of my reasons, and I think it's two, because my biggest reason is mental health. Because I know I have mental health, I know mental health running my family, and I just don't feel like I could totally give myself to, I, I'm enough for myself. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
that's good that you recognize that. I mean, like, did you know that at an early age, or like, how did you come to that point to where, because I don't think personally that, well, as you were talking, what were you talking? We were talking, well, you were talking on the panel about, children being disrespectful and things like that. But I kind of shared with you like some of my upbringing. But
mhm,
to give you an example, like, I'm not going to say I was drop dead gorgeous as a teen, but I understood why my father was
you
so
was.
overprotective. He was so overprotected to the point till, when I look back now and I see my younger me, we used to go to church. Me and my mom and my sisters go to church every Sunday. And the threat to me was, if one person has to tell you to smile, you will be on punishment for a week, because I never smiled as a child. I never, it was like I just never smiled. I don't know if it was because I was miserable or unhappy or what. I'm sure I was unhappy, but I didn't really know what I was missing, being deprived of having a regular teenage life. Like I said, I got married at 18, and primarily
Mhm.
not because I wanted to escape from home, because I was going to do that anyway. But when I said I was going to move out after graduation, my kid's father is like, we can get a place together. And even though um see, I was raised in a Baptist church, but my best friend was holiness. So every time I went to the holiness church with my best friend, like, I was allowed to do that. Her father was a pastor. So every time I would go, that's where I always felt the spirit of God move and deal with me. Not at the church that I was raised in as a Baptist. Now that's where I met my husband at the time. We were singing a choir together. But he was like, no, I don't, we just moving together. But I was convicted at a young age that, and my mom didn't teach me this, nor my dad. It was just a thing about God saying to me, like, you're worth being someone's wife. You're not going to shack up with a man if you're going to play the wife role. And there's no shade to nobody, because trust me, I don't fornicated for years. But well, at least with the same person, But anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so I had this thing about, no, I'm not gonna move in with you, and we're not gonna be married. And it wasn't a threat, because I loved him. He was my first lover, and I was his first lover. We were in love, and blah blah blah. But we got married, and his family was well off to do. So they bought us a house right next to door to them, which were the grandparents who raised him, because he had mommy issues, and his mom dumped him off with her parents. So they happen to be well off, and they bought us this little 1 bedroom house, and that's where I started popping out babies later on down the line. But it was like several years after we were married, and that's when the cheating started. But back to the subject at hand, being raised in a strict household, I didn't know how to I didn't know what was normal, outside of the house. I didn't know what temperament was, what emotional control was. Like in the beginning, he wasn't an abuser. He wasn't a person I had to worry about bopping me upside the head. But I was the person that, I didn't like run up on him or disrespect him and call him out his name and thing like that. I just would go into these blind rages to the point to where, like, I literally would pick up butcher knives and just stab the wall. Like, I almost sliced my finger off one time because my hand was gripped so tight on the knife that it slid down the blade when it stabbed the wall, because the wall was a little bit too strong for the knife to go through. So I literally he had to drive me to the hospital while my finger is damn near hanging off, because I was so angry. So I'm saying this to say, a lot of people, just think about me growing up in the 80s, in high school in the 80s, and how time has evolved and things have changed so much that the parents are not, they're partying more than they're doing homework with their kids,
Yes,
in
grandparents,
the
the grandparents.
2000s. Yeah, so it's a lack of accountability for teaching children respect, you know, um, emotional control.
You know what
There's
that
something,
is, Chosen? That is
say that.
because a lot of people don't, a lot of people have it in their head, I don't want to do it like they did it in the old days. You know what I'm
True.
saying? They have it in
And,
their
and,
head
and
like, I
point,
want my kids to be,
point
I
taken.
do agree with your kids being able to come and tell you everything. I agree with that. But
Hmm.
I don't, you know what I'm saying?
I
They
know exactly what you're saying, because my mom, when I told you about, how the psychiatrist makes you go back into your childhood, like once I realized that something is wrong with me, that I would let a man chase me and my children out of the house in zero weather with pajamas on and no shoes in the snow and ice, bamming on doors for help, I knew I needed help. Once I started getting the help, that psychiatrist, and he put me with a therapist, that therapist made me dig back so far. I didn't even know how much pain and resentment I had toward my parents. Like my mother was raised where she's from the country, where she would tell me her dad would put them in a burlap sack and hang them upside down and whoop them. you know.
Mm.
So it was nothing for my mom to think that it was okay for her to slap the shit out of me as a teenager, to slap my head into the wall, right? It was nothing for my dad to take off his belt. Like my dad, he never hit me with his fist, but he whooped my ass a lot with them belts and kept me on punishment, basically, so I couldn't go anywhere. But my mom, she would pick up a shoe, she would get the extension cord, she would get the switch. So I've never whooped my daughter. I whooped my daughter one time, once, and she's 30. I've never, and that's because I said I didn't want to repeat that cycle. I can't even remember whooping my son, other than spanking them when they're little kids. Like no, no, don't touch this, don't touch that. But I didn't want that. You know what I mean? Because I felt like I wanted different from my kids. I know what it did to me, and me and my parents are fine. Like I would lay down my life for my mom, and she would for me. She gets on my nerve, but I wouldn't have it no other way. If that makes sense,
Yeah,
like my
so
mom is
I
a
get it.
Gemini. She got
I
multiple
think
personalities.
that I will pass out the whoopings. And some people say I say that now, but you did ask me a question, and you asked me did I know that early on that I didn't want to.
Mhm.
So when I got to a point where I was thinking about it and I was just ready, I thought I was ready. I found out that I wasn't, right? And so I
How?
called my friend and I was like crying, and I was like, "Oh, my husband would have a baby, and oh, I feel like I'm letting him down," and I was just out of it. And she was like, "Girl, you ain't never wanted no kids." I was like, "Well, thank you, Jesus." It was just like confirmation, like
This is your best
this.
friend that knows you. She said you didn't ever want any kids.
She was like, "You ain't never want no kids. You always said you weren't having kids," and I was like, "Well, thank you, God, because now I don't feel like it's just something wrong with me."
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I go back and forth. Even today, I go back and forth on it. Like I better do it before I can't do it no more. But I just can't. It made me have a whole lot of intrusive thoughts, right, because of my childhood.
Is it
Um,
because your husband asked you for a baby, or you just like y'all had the discussion and say I want kids, and you was like how did that happen? If you don't mind sharing.
so how it happened was, oh Lord, Joseph. So
Uh
basically, we talked about it, right? Now I have to do IVF. For anybody who knows what it is, it's in fertilization, in vitro
Mm-hmm.
fertilization. So I have to do that. So what's this? 25. So I
Mm-hmm.
say 21. I called the insurance and I was asking them, questions about it, and they was like, "Yeah, we cover everything." Blah 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 blah. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay." So I was so excited. So I was like, "Let's just do it, babe. Let's just do it." And he was excited, because he don't have children either. And so,
Oh.
so he's like, "Okay, okay." So we excited, and then we did all the testing. I don't know if anybody ever did it, but oh my God, it's so much testing. Um, and the
It's
lady was
very
like,
grueling on the body too.
"Huh?"
It's very grueling on the
Oh, it
woman.
is. My sister did it. My sister did it. She did
Hmm.
it. She did it after I was gonna do it, and she can, but her husband couldn't. So it's crazy. But so basically, she was like, I'll never do it again." But she never told me that, you know, and for a long time because she was trying to see what I was gonna do. So
Mm-hmm.
she don't want to scare me. So anyway, so the lady on the phone, our doctor, her name was Dr. Best. Her name is Monica Best. She's the best IVF doctor here in Georgia. And she was like, "Okay, guys, everything is checked out." Whoop, whoop. She was like, "So we can start in 2 weeks." Girl, when I tell you panic kicked in, anxiety, I was just out of this world. I was shaking. I was crying for days. I was like, So I said, if it make me feel like that now, I'm not doing it.
Imagine being pregnant.
Imagine being pregnant. Imagine after, you post traumatic, whatever it is. What is it with pregnancies? Um,
Postpartum.
Postpartum. I don't want none of that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm already I'm already dealing with my own, stuff. So I was like, I don't want to put more on myself than I can handle. And honestly, truth is, I don't think I when I say intrusive thoughts, I was thinking like, what if it's a PEDO? What if it's a parent, KILLER? Oh my God. Like it made me think so. I was like, nah, this ain't for me. I'm good. I'm cool. Um and I had thoughts of being a bad mom because of my trauma, you know what I'm saying? So it was so much that I was like, if it makes me feel like this, then it's just something that's not for me. So that's it. And listen, it's not hard for me to talk about. And I feel like I love, like when you say I'm glad you think like that, I did. I thought like that. I thought
Mhm.
about my mental and not putting that strain and stress on somebody else because they don't deserve it. They don't deserve
So, okay, so because of your mental, did you get like, let's say people are diagnosed with
it.
schizophrenia, I struggle saying that word, bipolar.
Hmm.
Um, so your diagnosis, and I don't want you to tell me on a live, but is it something, because this is how I look at mental when it's not
I'll tell
dealing
you,
with.
I'm like, nobody can use things against me. I don't care.
Well,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
I
Like,
know, but I don't want you. You don't have to say it, but I just, because I posed that question. Think about it like this: some things are genetically, like people who have asthma, people who get allergies, and I know
yeah,
mental can run in the family.
it is.
I also believe, because nobody, like, I can remember after I got married and would have these fits of rage, like literally throwing dishes, tearing up my house, all because I'm angry and had no self control over
I didn't
anger.
have that. So what I had
Okay.
was, so at first I kept having these attacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was pretty new. Me and my husband relationship was pretty new. And I was just like, this motherfucker think I'm crazy. He is gonna leave me. But he was right there. He ain't go nowhere. And I kept having these attacks, and I would go to the hospital like every night. He would
Were
take me.
they anxiety attacks or panic
Wait a
attacks?
minute. Now that I'm older and I you know what I'm saying, I can think now and I know more now.
You can
Yeah.
recommend it.
But they used to try
Mm-hmm.
to say, "Oh, you're having small baby asthma." No, I wasn't. I was never having asthma attacks. Never.
Mm-hmm.
I was
They
having
were
anxiety
panicking.
attacks.
Mm-hmm. I've had those to the point, girl, where I have literally laid out in the floor because my limbs would not move. They wouldn't coordinate with my mind. Like, my body
Hey,
just shut down. I knew exactly where you were going with that. Yeah.
mhm. So I had them real, real, real bad. And so then, everybody was telling me I need to go to the doctor. And then I went through this fit of I couldn't listen to no type of other music on the radio but gospel. I called my cousin because me and my cousin is like brother and sister.
Mm-hmm.
He actually married me. And and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but God is trying to use me. I was going crazy, y'all. It's like for me to talk about it right now, I could laugh at it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
Right. Me too.
because I'm better. I was like,
Right.
what's going on? I was like, God is trying to use me. And then I had, the S thoughts, and I was just going through it real, real bad. And so when
Mm-hmm.
I went to the doctor, he was like, you're suffering from depression and PTSD and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. And so I
Mm-hmm.
was like, no, no. I don't feel like that. My body don't feel like that. My man don't feel like that. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's what normally happens, but what you're explaining to me is just that. So he started
Mm-hmm.
asking me about my family history. He was like, well, do anybody in your family suffer? And my aunt does, my mom's sister. And then I was like, well, I was like, well, yeah, a lot of them, but they just medicate differently. And that's what.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. So while you were saying that, um, I I think, well, my best friend, she's a nurse too, but um I want to say, watch like how I say this, like, and I don't want to offend anyone,
Oh, say
but
it.
I know some people are not spiritual. I'm a very spiritual person, and it was like when I gave my life to God
Mhm.
while I was married, that's when he changed. Like we became unequally yoked, and it's like everything that I did, God was just constant, like God, like I just like God is he's right with me, and I just be talking to him. I prayed about everything,
Mhm.
and it drove my husband crazy. Like it really, to say the
Mhm.
Holy Spirit
That's
will
what it
either
do.
draw
That's
you
that's what
in.
it's gonna do to the devil, baby.
Yeah, it'll either draw you or drive you. And so it drove him. But when I had my worst breakdown, like I hear people, my best friend says all the time, once the mind is broken, because she had some mental illness in her family as well. She had a sister that passed away, but she was schizophrenic, right? And she, nobody else in the family, she's the second youngest to 14 siblings, right? But just this one particular sister is the only one. But from what I know, I truly believe that some depressions are not hereditary. They are actually a demonic attack.
Mhm.
They are something of the devil. And when we go so far into depression, I mean, life happens to us all.
Mhm.
And the mind can only take so much.
Mhm.
But
It's a good thing we only think with a small. Just
say it.
imagine if we used our whole mind.
Brain. Yes. Yes. Right. And so we had this debate, me and my best friend, that once the mind is broken, it can never be fixed. And I beg to differ, because my mind at one point was totally shattered. Oh, and that's what Latte baby, I wasn't ignoring you. So I would shave my hair or shave my hair. I was raised with my aunts and uncles. My mom is the oldest of her siblings. I'm the oldest of my siblings. My mom left me with my grandma. So she moved to another city to go to nursing school, and then she sent for me. So every summer I would go back and forth in the summers with my aunts and uncles. So they were like my brothers and sisters. So when I lost my aunt to breast cancer, I blame myself a lot, because I was the first person she called, and she asked me, should she cut her breast off or should she do the treatment? Well, she beat the cancer 3 times. I told her to keep her breast, but when it came back the fourth time, um, she didn't make it. So I was angry with myself for years. And when I would go into this, missing her so much, I would shave my head because it made me feel closer to her, because she had
Mhm.
this thick, black, long, beautiful Indianish hair, and to see what cancer did to her, um, I was so angry with myself. And actually, I used to deal in the credit card world, and I know God is real. It took a customer. I would take calls every day. I dealt with people's credit cards for various stores, and a customer out of that 12-hour shift that I was working, one customer said, I want to say something to you, and I don't want you to think I'm crazy. I said, no, go ahead and say it. Now, the conversation had been so professional all the way up until this lady told me only something that God could have told her, and that was for me to forgive myself. It wasn't my fault. I broke down because my aunt stayed in my brain 24/7. Like, those wounds just would not close, would not heal. And this lady prophesied to me. She told me things that nobody on this earth could have known, especially someone calling me from across the United States, from a different city. It was just crazy. So I was able to finally stop shaving my head, latte. But yeah, I keep my pictures. I like to put that picture up sometimes, just because I want to be vulnerable to people. I like, if I put on makeup, I'm like, I think I look pretty nice, but people are always talking about eyelashes and makeup, and you ugly without this. So if I'm ugly, here I am with no wig, no hair. This is how I look. So you can either accept me or not. So that's why I decided. And that was when we were like in a saga and people was being talked about for going live. So I just feel like people needed to see me in that version so they can never throw, because somebody, the Candyman, actually had posted a ugly picture of me. He caught me on live and posted a ugly picture. So
Girl,
I'm like,
ain't no ugly
oh.
pictures of you.
Well, you that picture be having us looking crazy sometimes because it's at the wrong screenshot. But I was like, well, they want to make fun of how I look, so here you go, make fun of me. I'm bald head with no hair, no makeup, so boom, here you go.
No, you're
But
beautiful, actually.
that I got off topic. I'm sorry, but I wanted to tell you. I think in my spirit, I feel like if you decided to have children, if you lean, I know you say you don't want kids, but if it happened, I think you're gonna be the greatest mom.
So I'm
I
the
think.
aunt and cousin. So I believe that too, right? But I was telling Special K this the other day. When we was messaging, like, y'all, listen, I'm gonna be real. I'm 40. I've been by myself 40 years. I like what I like. I like to go buy what I like. I'm spoiled. And sometimes I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I look in the back seat to see if I can imagine the car seat back there and I hurry up and turn my face around.
I did the same thing. I did the exact same thing. But you know what?
I'm
If you,
like,
if
wait,
you
what?
know, if you know, I don't. I think if you know, I don't think you should. Push yourself because what everybody else think. You should
Yeah, let
have
me tell
one.
you. You're so right because I'm gonna tell you something. I had to check myself, Special K, because I was really, you know how it's supposed to go, right? You get the man, he got the wife, and then you had the
Mhm.
babies, then you got the house. Baby, let me tell you something. I was like, get that out your head. No, that's not how it's supposed to go. And I felt like I was doing things for people and how people think they supposed to see things and see a family. But I'm okay with the man and the dogs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know,
Because if you do it for someone else, that's just like anything. If you do it for someone else and don't do it for yourself, or you're not wholeheartedly into doing that, that's not where your heart is, you wouldn't be a good mother.
question, and this is for everybody. So, do you guys think if a lot of more, like a lot of people do pride me on the way I think about, like, I don't want to pass down that trauma. A lot of times, to be honest, I'm a loner. I like to be in my own space, even with my husband. I like to be in my own space. I like to have my own time. I just I just love the freedom. Like I need that space a lot of times. Right.
Mhm.
But do you think that if a lot of women, especially with all the baby unaliving and all that, if they had time to actually think about it, I thank God because I feel like He actually gave me the time. He gave me the options. He gave me options. I can or I
Mhm.
can't. And I feel like a lot of people, and this is, I have a live for that, but a lot of people actually, I think this world would be better off if people could make the choice. You know what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah.
Like I feel like if I would have been pregnant in my earlier years, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened. So I'm
I,
grateful
I
to have
think
a
I'm good at what I am. I'm
Mhm.
just I've mastered that. I'm a good godmother and I'm a good stepmother. But
Mhm.
I'm with you. I was very I think if it had happened, it needed to happen early on in the
Boy,
marriage.
sugar.
Hey, baby, that's my baby on my husband. There, y'all. Look at
Mhm.
my husband.
Lips.
He
Look
woke
at
up
him.
And
listening to y'all, and
girl, that's a
he
beautiful
looked
baby.
at me.
The
He
eyes,
was
the
looking.
cheeks, the lips.
He heard his wife. He heard his wife.
Say
Look
hi,
at
everyone. Say hi. Say hi. Get your wife on the phone and your auntie on the phone.
And you sitting
Say
there
hi.
spoiling him. That's
him.
that's
Mhm.
it.
Girl. Definitely.
He's
Yes.
He is
spoiled.
spoiled, and he's teething. Like, man, I'm just like, mm-mm.
He keeps a
And I
big
wanted two. I wanted my daughter to have twins because, I'm first time grandma. I'm like, but now I'm so thankful it's just one. Because, honey, he's a handful. He's spoiled rotten. Yeah, I'm going to talk about you. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yeah,
And
we'll
how old
talk
is your
about
daughter?
it.
Did you say she was 29?
hey,
She's 30.
Okay, yeah.
She's 30.
you
You
miss
remember
your wife. You miss your wife. You missing
Oh,
me.
he is too cute.
You missing me. Yeah. Oh, you looking like you want a
Thank
daughter. Oh, okay. We'll talk about it later then. Okay. Yeah.
Say bye bye,
We'll
y'all.
talk about
Yeah,
it
he gonna
later.
cut the camera
And
off.
they so cute and all.
Yeah. So
Thank
big.
you.
Look at Tabby. Tabby don't you be thinking about having no babies.
You have them, Tabby girl.
Wow. I know. That's what I said. them jaws and those his eyes.
Yes.
He got those big bright eyes.
I think she was trying to do you, preacher. She trying to get you to fall in love with that
And girl,
baby.
they trying to get me all the time. Like they trying to get me got all the time, but I ain't going.
But I
I got
was
a
like that
sister
too.
that she knew she didn't want kids either. She was like, I don't want no kids, and she meant just that.
And how is she now? She has one.
My sister,
Oh,
no, well,
your sister.
yeah, my sister. Well, I have three sisters that are younger than me, and the one up under me, she would have had kids, but she only wanted to have kids if she was married. And then the one under her, that's the one that likes to hop a flight, honey. She will get up and go like
Hmm.
she does her thing. And so
Mhm.
she's married. She's been married now for about 3 years, but well, no, about maybe 5 years.
She don't
And
have any.
she don't have any, and she had a dog. Her name was Bella. That was the first dog I ever let lick me in the face, and she passed away of cancer. She was a oh shit. She was like that dog was on the can, the dog food, the little fluffy white one.
A B
Um what's the name of it?
Bichon.
No,
They in the poodle family.
yeah, she was real short. She was a terrier, some kind of terrier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but she was so sweet and cute, and she passed away. Well, my sister had to have her put to sleep.
So do
So,
her husband have any?
her husband has one daughter, and that daughter has two babies. She has a 5 year old and a 1 year old. So my sister gets to play grandma to those little babies.
Well, Tabby, I'm about to
So,
go let Zach have us a baby mama or something. Like, yeah.
Debbie don't have any either. Debbie don't have.
Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. I ain't want that baby mama drama. I
Mm-mm.
ain't want that. Mm-mm. So I snagged them.
hey, Lexus. Hey, Lolita.
But wow, Special K to stepmom.
Yeah, and I like it. I do like it. Well, they're wrong now, but
Girl, we don't take them seeing eyes somewhere.
they're grown, and one the oldest one he has two daughters, two little girls. So that's beautiful, because they you get the girl now. We got the girls now, so the little bitty they cute. You can spoil them and then send them back home.
That's what I
Right.
do
How
now.
old are they?
Hmm.
How old are they?
One is 3, and the other one just turned. She just turned 6.
Oh, you get to play dress up and comb their hair and put them on their cute dresses.
Yes,
That's a
watch
fun
it.
time. Yes.
Just dog them up, get mad because they dirty. They go out and play and get dirty. Then you just want to come back in and dress them again. All the yes.
Yeah, that's what I do now. Boo Love, what them seeing eyes for? That's Boo Love gonna come and be my midwife if I do.
Well, I pray that God's will be done in your womb, honey. And on that note, I'm gonna drop down.
I'm
God's will
ready to
be
get off
done
of
in
here.
your
We've been out here for two
womb.
hours, y'all.
But it
But
was good. It
I'll
was
be back real soon because I got something that's probably gonna make us we all ain't gonna see eye to
Uh-oh.
eye. I can tell you
Oh,
that
shit.
right now, but we still gonna love each other at the end of the day.
Oh, Lord. You gonna come
it
back
will
live
be
later on
after
this
that
weekend?
day.
Not tonight, but
Can I get a
I'm
warning in
coming.
there
I'm
coming?
coming back, and we not gonna all see eye to eye. I can tell y'all this right now. I let Boo Love watch it earlier, and it's kind of similar to this. That's why I was like, but it's kind of like pro life or not, and
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
um, and
Okay.
I don't know if y'all seen the situation with the news reporter that got beat up.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
So
I
that's
didn't.
I
oh,
did.
that's what I'm gonna talk about. That's what I want to talk about, and I want to actually discuss what they was trying to discuss before she got knocked out.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
You seen it, Special K?
Yes,
That was
yeah.
something else, baby. Listen.
Yeah, there's gonna be
Oh,
some different opinions on that.
yeah, it definitely is. And
I'm gonna try not to look it up and wait on you to play it because now you don't spark my curiosity. But I'm gonna drop down, and I
y'all.
love y'all.
I love you, Chosen.
I love y'all too.
And if you're
I'll
done with
be in
me,
the
I'm gonna
chat.
drop it on and give you back to. I love you, G Mama.
All right. I heard you, Special.
Okay.
All right, love. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. Thank you, Robin. Thank you. Thank everybody for staying that stayed and coming. Um, it was interesting. We shall do it again soon. And I'm gonna get on up out of here. I don't know if anybody's live, but I'm about to go jump in my bed and chill out and see who's live. Thank you, Special K. It's always a pleasure. Good night, y'all. What?